So Bradley Nelson, you are very welcome back to Livsenergi. How are you today?
Well, fabulous. It's great to see you again, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Yes, me too. So 2 years ago, we met here online in this launch, The Emotion Code. But today we are meeting for another book launch in Swedish. And it's the book launch of The Body Code instead of The Emotion Code. The Body Code is the new book that you released just this year.
Right. That's pretty exciting.
So is that what you've been working on for the past few years when we have not been in contact?
Yes, it's we have been working on it for the last couple of years. It's been a big project. And the Body Code is essentially it's a real breakthrough in how we can communicate with the subconscious mind and ask questions and get answers about what's really going on inside of us. We talked last time about how the body is a computer, I think, and how you can get answers from that computer. The Emotion Code was all about finding the emotional baggage that is imbalancing the body and causing illness and things like that. The Body Code is the next level, where using the Body Code, you can find just about anything that's going on with the subconscious mind. You can find all kinds of imbalances that might be affecting the body, whether they're things like, for example, pathogens. You might have some kind of a pathogen in the body that might be affecting you. In other words, maybe you have a parasite or a viral infection, a bacterial infection. Maybe you have mold or some kind of fungal issue going on. You may not necessarily know that, and medical tests may not necessarily show that. That's just one category of 6 categories. And how this came about really was when I was in practice, because I was a computer programmer back starting in about 1980. So in the early 80s, when computers were first coming out, you're far too young to remember this, but back in those days, IBM, for example, came out with the IBM PC, and Apple had their computers, and back in those days, I was a programmer, and I was self-taught, and I'd go into people's businesses and I would learn their processes, and then I would write the software for their new computer that they had bought that they had no software for. There was very little software back in those early days. And so when I received that answer really from a higher power that I needed to go into the healing arts and become a chiropractor, I always had a computer with me in my practice right there, so that as I would find new imbalances and as I would find the real underlying causes of my patients' problems, I would record those in the computer. And I gradually built up this vast database, this knowledge base of imbalances. And I found that there are really 6 different kinds of imbalances that cause all of our physical and mental and emotional problems. And so I mentioned one of those categories, and that's pathogens. Another category is of course, energies that are in the body that shouldn't be in the body. For example, trauma energies. To give you an idea, kind of how some of this came about. When I was in practice, I had this habit of asking for help from up above, from God, or whatever you want to call God, source energy, creator, the divine. But before I would go to work on a patient, I would always pause and just silently ask for help. And when you do that as a healer, what you're doing is you're admitting that you need help, that you can't do it all alone. And you're also opening that conduit so that help can flow to you. Yeah. And I think that's when the angels come in and stand around you and whisper things into your mind and give you answers and so on and direct you. Well, one day, this young guy came into my office. Well, young, he was 42, pretty young to me now. And anyway, he said that 4 years before he'd been in a car accident, and he was rear-ended in this collision, and he got whiplash. And so his neck really bothered him then. And he said his neck still bothered him after 4 years, and he'd seen a number of doctors for this. His neck still was at a 9 on a 0 to 10 level of pain. It hadn't changed in 4 years. And I thought, that's kind of odd. And he's seen other doctors. That's kind of odd. So before I went to work on him, I just said this silent prayer. And I essentially said, Father, if there's a better way to understand what's going on with him, help me to understand it, because this seems kind of strange to me. And this answer flowed into me. And the answer was that in the accident, the energy that was released when he was rear-ended went through his car, went through his body, crumpled the fenders, bent the frame. And some of that energy went through his body and injured him, but some of that energy actually stayed behind. Some of that energy became trapped in his neck. And that was the answer. And I thought, so some of the energy from the accident is actually still in his body, in his neck. And I thought, that's really interesting. And so I just swiped a few times down the middle of his back, like we do with the emotion code, to release that energy. And I said, okay, move your neck around. And he looks left and right and up and down and tilts his head. And he said, wow. He said, how did you do that? And I said, well, how is it? And he said, well, I'd say it's about a 2 out of 10. And I said, well, when's the last time it felt that good? And he said, well, before the accident. So
wow.
This is one of the things, that I found during those years. But there are many, many, many things like that. And
so it's been like a trial and error for you to find this kind of map, would you say?
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was a process of, for about 18 years or so, 20 years, I was in this practice where it was just me, by myself, and people were coming in to see me. And I was just trying to figure out what was really wrong. And as years went by, the difficulty level of these people coming to see me became higher and higher. They got more and more difficult, but I was able to fix them because I knew that I could ask the subconscious mind what was really going on with them. I remember once a patient came into me, Alexandra, and she had some kind of major things going on and was chronically ill. And it was her very first visit, and I was feeling I was in a mood. And I said, I'm basically clueless about what's wrong with you. And her eyes got really big. And I said, but it's okay. Don't worry. I said, your subconscious mind, the computer within you, knows exactly why you're sick and why you're having these symptoms. And I know how to talk to it.
Yeah.
And so we can find out what those underlying reasons are. And that's the whole idea here. I remember I spoke once at a fibromyalgia support group. And fibromyalgia is where you get pain all over in the muscles. And I don't know, what's the word? Do you have a word for that in Swedish?
Fibromyalgia. Yeah,
okay.
Fibromyalgia.
Very similar.
Fibromyalgia. It spells the same, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same. And anyway, I spoke for an hour. There were about 50 people there in this hospital group. And there was one woman that cried the whole time that I spoke. And she came up to me afterward and she told me that for 19 years, she'd had fibromyalgia that was so severe. She cried every day because of it. And she'd seen 9 different doctors over all those years, almost 20 years of having this. And none of them had told her that she could ever get well. Part of the reason she said she was crying that day was because it was the first time a doctor had told her that she might actually be able to get well. And so to give you an idea how this works, I found that there are really 6 categories of imbalances that cause all of our problems. So one of those is pathogens. Well, when she came in to see me, I found that she had a number of different viral infections. She had a parasite in her body. We had to get rid of that. And that's actually fairly common. So that's one category. Another category is what we call misalignments. She had a number of different misalignments in the body. She also had some other problems. She had another category is nutrition and lifestyle. She had a number of different nutritional deficiencies we had to address. And then another category is toxins. Her body was toxic from just living, and we had to start detoxifying her body. And then another category has to do with the circuitry of the body, the organs and the glands, and the connections between the spirit and the physical body. So we started to address those. And then the last category is what we call energies, and that has to do with trapped emotions, which we've talked about before, and traumas, like I just described. And she had all of those things going on. So as I started to address all of those imbalances kind of simultaneously, she immediately started to improve. And within 3 weeks, she was completely pain-free, except she had pain in one of her, I think it was her left thumb. She had some arthritis, but she was thrilled. I mean, ecstatic, because she didn't think she'd ever get well. So the subconscious mind has the answers. And that's really the understanding that is going to, that's really going to change the world. I think it has to. Yeah. The time has come.
It sounds like I think it sounds quite logic. And I love the analogy with the computer, because all the answers are there. And it's kind of helpful as well, because it's hard sometimes to believe in something that is not tangible. And since the subconscious is something that is mysterious to us, and still we believe that it holds a lot of value, then when reading a book like this, the emotion code or the body code, it becomes more tangible when you can see tangible results. So thank you for that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. This is my mission. The purpose of my life is to bring this healing work into the world. And it's an amazing thing to see how people's lives are changing all over the world from this work. And it's really not about me. I'd love to take credit, for all of this, but I'm just the instrument, really. I'm just the tool to bring this into the world, but it isn't about me. And it's so fun to see all these lives changing in so many countries all over the world. We've certified probably, I think, about 1,100 emotion code practitioners now in 80 countries around the world.
Do you do that on site where you live, or around the globe? Do you go places?
No, well, we do travel, and we'll be in Europe for a couple of months this year, June and July, and I have events going on in Europe. But
we're planning an event with you here in Stockholm.
Yes, and I'm really excited about that. Can't wait.
Same.
Yeah, can't wait. I've always wanted to go to Stockholm. Well, I'm a Nelson, and
Yes.
so my genealogy, if I can trace it back far enough, I'm sure probably goes right to Stockholm.
Yeah.
Somewhere up there.
Very possible. So what came first, the emotion code or the body code, or how did everything evolve?
Yeah, well, it was kind of an organic process, really. During the years that I was in practice, I had this perfect laboratory where I had people coming in continually with all kinds of different problems. Initially, people were mainly coming in to see me because of physical pain. And I found that chiropractic would often work really, really well for that physical pain. But then sometimes there were other things going on. So it was a kind of a fascinating journey, really, that I was on. And I found that, because I was focused on physical pain, trying to figure out why people had pain and studying ancient methods of healing and modern methods. And I was trying to learn everything that I possibly could. Plus, I was asking for help from up above. And the information that comes from up above, those answers are really the best and the purest of all, right? But I was learning everything that I could, because I was obsessed, really, with getting to the underlying causes of what was really wrong with my patients. I felt that that's why they were coming to see me, and I didn't want to just give them a Band-Aid, right? I wanted to actually figure out why they were having trouble, and I wanted to actually fix them, right? And so I was very stubborn. I was really, I really was obsessed. I was desperate to find the true answers, right? And so that's why I was praying and asking and studying everything I could study. And so things kind of, pieces of the puzzle kind of gradually came together. So one of the things that I learned, for example, was that emotional energy can cause physical pain. And that was an amazing thing. I remember I had a patient once, and I don't remember if I told this story, but this is one of the pivotal stories. This woman came in to see me who thought she was having a heart attack one day. And she had difficulty breathing, crushing chest pain, left side of her face totally numb, left arm completely numb. I mean, this looks like a heart attack, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we had a medical center that was almost right next door. And I told my staff, we might need an ambulance, but let me just check her really quickly. And so I tested her really quickly and found she had emotional energy that was part of this. And so I had learned by then to ask questions of the subconscious mind and get answers using muscle testing. And it was my work as a computer programmer that really enabled me to understand how to communicate with the subconscious mind. Because you see, for example, you're sitting at a laptop probably, or your desktop computer, right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting at a laptop. What's the interface? Well, the interface consists of the screen, right, where we can see each other,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the keyboard where we can type commands and things like that, right? That's the interface.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the interface on your phone is the screen, and then you touch buttons and so on. Yeah. The subconscious mind has a totally different kind of interface. Mm-hmm. Interface for the subconscious mind is that you can ask questions either out loud or silently, and you'll get a change in muscle strength. And so the subconscious mind is a binary computer in terms of its interface, and it will answer any question that you want as long as the answer can be a yes or a no, strength or weakness. So I'm asking questions, I'm getting answers from this woman and from her subconscious mind. And I find very quickly, I mean, within about less than a minute, I had identified what had happened. She had a trapped emotion of grief that had happened 3 years before. And she burst into tears when I found that. And she said, I can't believe that's affecting me. I thought I dealt with all that. And I said, well, what happened to you? She said she was deeply in love, married to this guy who she found out was betraying her with another woman. And she was crushed by this, devastated. And their marriage fell apart. She got divorced. She spent a year in therapy dealing with all of this and then got remarried. And as far as she was concerned, that ex was just her ex. But as far as her body was concerned, all that energy, all that emotional grief was still right there. And when I released that by just swiping a few times down her back, the chest pain was gone. The difficulty breathing was gone. The feeling came back into her left arm about that quick into her face. And she felt totally fine. And she left the office about 10 minutes later after joking with me and my staff. Mm-hmm. And I remember after she left, sitting at my desk thinking, what in the world did I just witness? How is it possible that emotional energy can cause that kind of pain? Mm-hmm. Well, so that was one of the first things that happened. And then there were more things like that gradually taught me more and more about how the body really works. And instead of becoming more complex, Alexandra, things became simpler. And as the puzzle pieces came together, it all fit into this beautiful model of understanding how we lose our health, our physical, our emotional, our mental health, how we lose those, and how that process can be turned around. And the only way to do it, really, the only way is to find out what the truth is, the true underlying causes, right? So if you're diagnosed with, for example, with cancer or some other major disease process, you go to the doctor. Does he know why you've been diagnosed with that?
No.
You know why? No. Who knows? The internal computer knows. And we now, with the body code, we now have this amazingly simple interface. And that's really what this is. It's an interface that enables us to ask questions and get answers. And it's so simple that kids can do it. And so it's going to change the world. It has to.
What I like about your books is that they are very structured and organized, and it's easy for the reader to actually go from reading to practice.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that the body code is built the same, with the same kind of handbook to practice on your own?
Well, it really is, but it wasn't initially. When I turned in the first manuscript, and this was a couple of years ago. This has been a project that's been going on for a while. The publishers read it, and they came back to me and they said, no, what we really want is more of a how-to book, kind of like the emotion code. Because the first manuscript, the first version of the book that I turned in was really more of an overview of how the body code works and what it is, with examples and stories. And so when they came back to me with that, I wasn't sure what to do, because the body code system really is an app that looks like let's see here. It looks like this, and it runs on your iPad or your mobile device. And so you can drill down, you can touch things, and you can drill down and you can find all kinds of things. And I thought, well, how in the world are we going to put all of this into a book? There's so much information here. The book would be, 1,000 pages thick, probably minimum. And so I didn't really know what to do there. And so I thought about it, and then I realized, for example, here's the physical trauma energy that I mentioned to you, that story. Anytime you're using the body code, you're taken to a page, and it gives you all the information about how to fix what you have found, right? And so I thought, gee, I don't know how I can do this. And they said, by the way, it can only be 400 pages. And so that was kind of, I had to think about that for a while. So what I realized that we could do is we could take the most common things, the greatest hits, if you will, okay, the most common kinds of imbalances that we would find with people, and we could put those in the book so that people could find those imbalances and fix those, so they could have success just using the book. And so I rewrote the book with everything is in there that I could include. So, for example, if we look at this page, okay, in the Body Code System app, this is a page that's in the Body Code as well. And so you can find these things like pathogens and misalignments and nutrition and lifestyle and toxins.
This is all the 6 key.
Yes.
Significant keys.
Key areas. So this is in the book. But of course, what we had to do in the book is we had to put page number references so that we teach people how to use the book to do the same kind of thing. So they can use the book, and they, if they find an imbalance here, they might be taken to, they might be taken to a page where they might find a trapped emotion, for example. And then there's a chart of emotions, and we walk them through this, how to do this. They might be taken to a page where they find some kind of a nutritional deficiency, and the table is in there for this. So you can, by testing, you can ask, well, what is this? Is it in column A or B, and so on. In fact, let me tell you a story. There was a woman that came in to see me one day. She'd been hospitalized. I was still in practice, and she'd been hospitalized for 5 days with this terrible pain in her abdomen. And they ran every test that they could, and all the tests were negative. And so they finally released her from the hospital after 5 days. They couldn't find anything wrong with her. So the next day she comes in to see me, and her pain level is about a 9 on a 0 to 10 scale. So she's really in pain. And so I started using the body code and asking questions about what was wrong with her and why she was having this pain. And I found some things. I found, I think, a couple of trapped emotions and a couple of other things. And one of the things that I found was that she needed chromium. So I was taken to that page, and how this works is like the emotion code. You've got a column A and a column B. And I asked, okay, do you need something on this page? Yes. Is it in column B? No, it's in column A. And let's see here. Is it in one of the odd rows? And the answer was that it was right here in column A, row 2. And it turned out that she needed this one right here, chromium.
Yeah, of course.
Right. And so I thought about it and I thought, well, chromium is great for blood sugar and so on. And I said, this doesn't have anything to do with the pain that she's in. But I told her, I think you need chromium. So I don't have any right now. We're out of it, but I think you should get some at some point. I thought it was an incidental finding.
Yeah.
So I couldn't find anything else to work on. And so she goes home. She's still in pain. The next day she comes back and now she's actually at about a 10 plus in pain. And I remember thinking, I don't know how they missed this in the hospital, but they missed it somehow. It's got to be her appendix. She's really in danger. I didn't know what else to do. So I started using the body code and asking questions. And out of all the thousands of possibilities in the body code, I was taken right to that chart again and right to chromium. And it was only at that moment that I remembered, oh my gosh, wait, this showed up yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I said to her, look, I said, I don't know why, but I said, I think your body really needs chromium. I don't know why, but I want you to leave my office right now. Go down the street to the health food store, buy some chromium, ask them for water, go ahead and take some right there. Don't wait. And then come back to my office. 20 minutes later, this very athletic young woman is literally jumping up and down in my waiting room saying, I'm fixed. I'm fixed. She said the instant that she took the chromium, the pain was gone. And she said to me, she said, how did that work? Yeah. And I said, I have no idea. But I said, your subconscious mind knew that you needed chromium and it was able to communicate that that's what it needed. Mm-hmm. And so we were able to get your body what it needed. And no one's ever been able to explain to me why that was causing physical pain. But you see, think about your car. Mm-hmm. If you're driving your car, probably drive a nice Volvo, right? Being from Sweden. We've owned a few and love them. There's a check engine light, right? If the check engine light turns on, you don't necessarily know what's wrong, but you know that something's wrong, right? Yeah. So you take it to a mechanic. What if the mechanic came back to you and said, well, like Alexandra, we found out what's wrong with your Volvo. The check engine light is on. So we unplugged the check engine light. So you're good to go now. What do you think?
I would think not a good solution.
Not a good solution, right? But that's how we take care of ourselves, generally speaking, in Western medicine, right? I mean, if you have some kind of pain in the body or some kind of a symptom, Western medicine is geared towards giving you something that will suppress the symptom or turn off that light. But you see, what's fascinating about the body is that we have lots of different kinds of check engine lights. We have physical pain. That's a big one. And people have migraine headaches and back pain and neck pain and knee pain and elbow pain and all kinds of things. But that pain is a check engine light that can appear in different forms. Another kind of check engine light really is, if you can't make enough money in your life and you're broke, that's a check engine light. If you can't find love, that's a check engine light. If you have nausea or infertility or asthma or digestive problems, or if you've been diagnosed with some kind of a disease, those are all symptoms. Now, Western medicine looks at all of those as the problem, but those are not really the problem. Those are the symptom. It doesn't matter what the disease is. Those are all symptomatic of other imbalances that are going on below the surface that are actually causing those symptoms. And so if you can identify what's going on below the surface and fix those things, and that's how the body code works, then maybe those symptoms can go away. And they usually do.
So the body code is a set of keys to reach your subconscious and get to know what's wrong. What's the reason behind all your physical and mental.
Exactly right. Well, the subconscious mind essentially is this binary computer, and we've never had a way to communicate with it until now, really. We've
Exactly.
never really had a way, a really complete way to ask questions and get answers. And now we do. And that's what the body code is. And so it's changing the practices of doctors all over the world. People who have been practicing for decades are finding that they can use the body code and cut right to the chase. They can get right to the underlying causes of their patients' issues. And it's changing their practices dramatically, because now instead of band-aiding things, or instead of dancing around the problem or suppressing the symptom, they're actually able to begin a dialogue with this binary computer, which is the subconscious mind. And it might sound difficult, but it's actually so simple. Children are doing it effectively all over the world.
So one of the tools, I just want to say to the viewers as well that the book is really structured and very well organized, so that while reading, you can actually practice on your own, for yourself or for someone else, but perhaps start with yourself. Anyway, so I think for me, when I read the book, I understand that one of the tools that you use many times, often, is the muscle testing. You can also use pendulum,
Right.
but the muscle testing is something that is accessible to everyone, since we have it. We're it, right? So can you show us how this works? Can we do a muscle testing right here, right now?
Yeah, if you want to. If you want to, what we could do is I have the body code, and if you want, I can maybe share my screen and show you how this works. And we could actually work on you if you want.
Yeah, feel free. I'm open.
Okay. Well, I have it in Swedish. Now, I don't guarantee that the translation is perfect. Okay. Because we start with a machine translation. It might be a little off, but it should.
You can have our translation when it's done.
Perfect. Yeah, that's what we'll want. All right, great. Can you see the body code there?
Yeah, of course. Perfect.
In Swedish, hopefully.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, great. So let's see here. So Alexandra, let me ask you, do you have any kind of issue that you would like me to try to address here?
Yeah. Yeah. Why not my right arm?
Right arm. Okay. Your right arm bothers you?
Yes, it hurts.
Okay. Is it hurting right now?
A little bit.
A little bit. And is
Mostly
it
when I exercise.
Okay. Okay. Is it shoulder or elbow or wrist?
Especially up here.
Okay.
Upper arm.
Okay. So on a 0 to 10 scale, how would you, if you move it around right now, can you reproduce that discomfort? And on a 0 to 10 scale, how would you rate it?
I would say a 3.
About a 3. Okay.
But it's a barrier for my exercise.
Sure. Okay. Absolutely. I get it. So let's do this. Now, first of all, one of the things that we teach everybody is that because this work, we believe, really came from above, from the universe, from God, source energy, whatever you want to call it. What we like to do is we teach everybody that if they believe in some kind of power that's greater than themselves, to try to connect with that power, to ask for help before they begin. And so I'm going to do that here really quick for us. Okay. And feel free to join me if you want to. We'll just take a moment. All right, here we go, Alexander. So I'll be using the ring and ring method. Now, it looks like this, and this is one of the methods that we teach. It's a method of muscle testing. And so you make a ring inside of a ring. And then if the answer coming from the subconscious mind is yes, the body will be normally strong. If the answer coming back is a no, the body will be a little weaker, and you'll detect that by the rings either staying together or by the rings coming apart. So you'll be able to see the answers that I'm getting as I'm doing this. So here we go. So first of all, this is all about quantum physics. Okay. I'm in the West in the United States. Are you in Stockholm?
Yes.
Okay. You're in Stockholm. Doesn't matter how far apart we are, because quantum physics teaches us, right, that we're all connected. And so the subconscious mind has this ability built right into it to set aside its own needs to act on behalf of someone else. So let's ask this first question. I want to know if our energies are entangled so that I can ask questions and get answers from your subconscious mind. And I get a yes on that. Okay. So let's see here. Let's ask, is there an underlying reason then why you're having this trouble of this pain in your arm? Is there a reason for that? Yes, there's always a reason. Now, there may be several reasons, right? But we're going to do the first reason, and we'll see if we can address that first reason. So what is the first reason? If we're looking now at the body code, and by the way, your subconscious mind, you see, that binary computer that is your subconscious mind is connected into the database of universal intelligence, or what Rupert Sheldrake called the morphic field, the light of Christ. It's called lots of different names: the Akashic records, the database of all that is, the database of genius. It's the energy, the intelligence that fills the universe. Your subconscious is connected into that database, and so is mine. And so let's ask your subconscious mind, what reason is there that you have this pain? Is the reason on the right side of our body code chart? No. So it's on the left side. So is it an energy of some kind? Yes. So we'll go here. When we click on this, it brings up another chart. So is it one of these on the left side? No. So is it an allergy or an intolerance? No. Is it something emotional? That's a yes. Okay. So, excuse me, is it one of these on the left side? Yes. Is it a trapped emotion? It is. So we'll go here. And is it one of these on the left side? Yes. So is this a prenatal trapped emotion? No. Is it a preconception trapped emotion? No. So this is actually what we call an inherited trapped emotion. So sometimes, yeah, at conception, we can receive emotional energy from mom or dad, see? And these might go back for generations, but let's scroll down to our chart here and let's see what we've got. Okay, and I'm going to just make some notes. Is this emotion listed in the chart in column A? No. So it's in column B, and is it in one of the odd rows? Yes. Now, here's how this works. As I'm asking these questions, your subconscious mind is manifesting the answers. That energy change, because our energies are entangled, shows up instantaneously in my energy field, okay? Those answers from your subconscious mind are communicated to my subconscious mind, and then the answer shows on testing. So here we go. We know this emotion is in column B. Is it in one of the odd rows? Yes. Is it in row 1 or row 3? It's in row 3. So is it this first one or the second one or the third one? It's the third emotion here. And I'm not sure what that is in English.
Sadness. Sadness.
Oh, sadness. Okay. All right. So in that emotion, let's see here. Hold on. Here we go. So it's sadness. Now you inherited this. Did you get this when you were conceived from your mother? Yes. Came from your mother. And did she get it from someone earlier? Yes, from her mother. So it came from your grandmother, actually. And did she get it from someone earlier? Yes. So how far back does this go? Does it go back for 10 generations? Yes. For 15 generations or 20 generations or 25, 21? It goes back 20 generations. So if we say 20 generations times maybe 26 years for a generation, that comes out to about 520 years, give or take. So about 1,500.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Alexandra, do you have kids?
Yes, 3.
3 kids. And these are your biological kids?
Yes.
Okay. So did any of these kids receive this energy from you? Yes. Did they all receive this? They did. Okay. All right. So is there anything else we need to know about this? Okay, did this begin with a male or a female? Let's see, did it begin with a male? This started with a female. So it was a grandmother of yours all those years ago. And let's go ahead and release this now. Now, to release something like this, what we do is we just pass from the forehead over the top of the head to the back of the neck.
I do too?
No, you don't need to. We do 10 swipes. Now I'm acting as proxy for you, so you don't really need to do that. I'm doing it for you, right?
Mhm.
So let's ask, did we release that energy? Yes. Did it release from your mother? Yes. And from her mother? Yes. Did it also release from all those other ancestors? Yes. Because you see, apparently, when we die, the spirit lives on, and the emotional baggage that we have is still with us. It's energy also. And did we release this energy from your 3 kids? Yes. See, in quantum physics, it's really interesting, but one energy like this that has been passing down, it's really only one energy still, even though it's been passing down all these generations. So awesome. Now, what I want you to do is go ahead and move your arm around now. Move it around. Let's see how your arms feel now, and let's see if that made a shift for you.
But actually, it did. It did.
Yeah. So 0 to 10, how would you rate that discomfort now?
A 1.
I
can still feel there is something, but
okay.
it is actually different.
Okay. Awesome. So this is how the body code works. So let's do this. Let's ask how this works, and we'll go back to the home page in the body code, right?
And I just want to add that what I see here in your app is actually very similar to how the book is structured.
Exactly.
So it's also it's very easy to follow.
It's exactly the same. I mean, this is the body code system. This is the app, but the book works the same way. It just has page references, and so instead of clicking on something, you just turn to the page.
Yeah,
really easy.
Exactly.
It doesn't require any electricity either.
You can bring it with you anyway.
You can take it with you anywhere you want.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can get it to a 0.
Yeah.
You want to?
Yeah.
All right. It could be another thing. So let's ask, is there another underlying reason why you're having this discomfort in your arm? Yes. So what's the next reason? Is it something on the left side of the chart? No. So is it a pathogen of some kind? No. Is it some kind of misalignment? Yes. So we'll click here. And is it something on the left side of this chart? No. So is it something in the skeleton? Yes. It's something in the skeleton. So is it in the appendicular skeleton? Of course, that's where the arm is, but no. So it's over here in the axial skeleton. So is it something on the left side of this chart? Yes. So is it a misalignment in the spine somewhere? No. It's a misalignment in the skull. Okay. Yeah. So let's see here. So the skull, the bones of the skull is the most amazing 3-dimensional jigsaw puzzle that exists in the universe, as far as I know. And the skull expands and contracts very slightly, about 12 times a minute. And so if we look at these bones, hold on. There's something that's not functioning right. And is it something on the left side of this chart? No. So is it the frontal bone, one of these bones, the parietal bones? Okay. Is it a temporal bone? So the only one left is the occipital bone. And so this bone is not happy. It's not functioning quite right. So in the body code, you always have an explanation and a decoding step. And then you also have this association step. And what we want to know here is there something associated with this that we need to identify? And the answer is yes. So this bone is not happy, but there's a reason. Okay. So let's go back to the homepage and figure out the reason. Is it something on the right side, left side? Is it in the energies? It's in here. And is it on the left side of this page? Yes. So is it post-traumatic? Is something post-traumatic? Is it on the left side? Yes. Is it a physical trauma? Yeah. Okay. So you have one of these. The first story I told, you've got one of these. And so do we need to know anything else about this? Not really. Is there anything associated? Not really. But just out of curiosity, let me ask you, let's see here. Let's ask when this happened. Okay. Did this happen earlier than age 30? Yes. Earlier than 20? Yes. Earlier than 10? No. So between 10 and 20, between 10 to 15, around 16 or 17 or 18. This is from around age 18. There was some kind of a trauma that happened to you, some physical blow that you took. You might have been 17 or 18 or maybe even 19. It's accurate within a year, give or take. But there was some kind of a physical blow that you took And it wasn't necessarily to right here. It could have been to some other part of the body. Does that ring any kind of a bell at all?
It's a long time ago. No, I don't remember.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You might have had a fall or a car accident. Maybe you fell off a horse. I don't know. But something happened. But the subconscious mind remembers, even if we don't consciously remember, because we don't remember a lot consciously. So let's go ahead and release this now. Okay. So this physical trauma energy, and you see the instructions are right here, okay, on how to do this.
Very
and so,
easy.
and the body code works the same way. The book works the same way. So did we release that energy? We did. Now, how did we find this? We found this because we had that bone, right, that was unhappy. So now, or malfunctioning. Is this bone happy now? Is it functioning better? Yes. Okay. Now, what I want you to do actually is I'd like you to stand up if you can and just walk around for a little bit and then come back.
Yeah.
Because when we find something like this, this bone has an effect on the whole entire spine, on the cerebrospinal fluid, on the brain stem, lots of things. And so that's fine. You can come back and sit down now. And so when this bone is malfunctioning, it causes a lot of different issues. So now go ahead and move your arms around and let's see how that arm feels now compared to how it was feeling before.
Yeah. I mean, there is a difference. There is a very, very, it's a big difference.
Yeah, that fun.
I actually have a massage booked for tomorrow. It will be very interesting to see if I need it.
Yeah. So that's basically how this works. I mean, you never know what the underlying causes of a problem are going to be, but the body code will take you there. See, it's really easy to do. And so the book, the idea behind the book is that you learn this process in the book, and we explain how it all works, really, even on the quantum physics level, in very simple ways, so anyone can understand it. And then you never know what the reason is going to be. The old saying of the holistic physician is that anything can cause anything, and you can find those things here in the body code. So that's great. Well, I'm hoping that that's going to be the end of that for you.
I do too. And the interesting thing here is that it's connected. I mean, I would think that, the logic thing would be that you found something in the skeleton that has to do with this muscle or some soft part in the body, but it was on a completely different place and for a completely different reason. So like you say, anything can cause anything. So we just need to have an open mind about why we're facing the troubles that we are, right?
Yeah, exactly right. So some of the fun things that are in the body code, and of course we can't include everything in the book, but I'll try to hit on some of the ones that are in the book that you can find. You might have, let's see. There are allergies. You might be allergic to an idea. That's possible. You can find things like that. But what if you have an allergy to the idea of money? What if your boyfriend has an allergy to the idea of commitment? Right? Yeah. Might be hard for him to commit. What if you have some kind of a toxin in the body? Maybe it is maybe you were bitten by a spider at some point, and that energy might still be in the body. Or maybe it was something else that bit you, or maybe you have some kind of a nutritional issue. And like we talked about before, you can using a table like this, you can ask if something's in column A or column B. You can identify it, and it's just it's a very, very different way of looking at things. But of course, we have all the organs and all the glands are in here, and it's interesting because you'll find when you use the body code, you'll find things like, for example, if you have an imbalance in the gallbladder, that's probably why your right knee hurts, right? And if you have an imbalance in your, let's see here, in your liver, you might find that
shoulder.
Exactly. Yeah. Shoulder blades or pain up in the upper back. Yeah. And so, all of these things are really interesting. One of the things too is that we, in the body code, we work with things that you won't find anywhere else. For example, we know what causes morning sickness, the sickness of pregnancy. That when you were having your children, did you suffer with that at all?
Not a lot. No, I was lucky.
Yeah, because that can be a difficult thing. But we know what causes that. It's a disconnection between the brain and the fetus.
Oh.
And that new life that's growing. That was one of those answers to prayer that I got. My wife was begging me to help her. She was pregnant with our daughter, who now is 23. And I was thinking about all the things that I had tried that hadn't ever worked for any of my other patients. And so I said this prayer, and I said, Father, help me to understand if there's a better way to understand this. I don't know, because nothing has ever worked for me. And I got an answer that flowed in, that it was about the connection between the brain and that new life that's growing. So we have practitioners, Alexandra, in the world who just specialize in fixing morning sickness now.
Oh, wow. I mean, I have a cousin who was actually hospitalized because of sickness during her pregnancy. Yeah.
Yep.
And the interesting thing here is that whatever you find, whatever reason behind problems that you find, you can fix it by swiping with a magnet or with your hand, or perhaps other ways, but you don't have to actually go and change your lifestyle to fix this.
Well, usually not. I mean, sometimes a person might have toxins to a point that they might need to actually change some things to detoxify. They might need to use some kind of a spa, or they might need to take. People might need to take certain vitamins or minerals or things like that. But the subconscious mind knows those answers, and so it can suggest those things to you using this system, which is really nice. We have all the chakras are in here. You can find imbalances in any of those. And we found that most of the time, if you have an imbalance in a chakra or a meridian, it's usually emotional energy that's stuck there. Mm-hmm. And so the beautiful thing is, with the body code, it's enabling anyone really to be their own natural physician.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do this for your own kids, your family members, your loved ones. And if you like doing this, then we have certification available. And we'll have it in Swedish before long. It's available in English and German and Polish and Spanish right now. So we're working on it.
Yeah. I remember when we talked about the emotion code, it was kind of like an onion. I remember you talked about how you can come back to yourself to deal with more traumas, or deal with more problems. Just because you deal with one problem today doesn't mean that you're fully healed. You can actually find different things the next day or the next day after that. How would you say that we should go about ourselves, and what can we do to observe a change?
Well, sometimes we come across people that have no symptoms of any kind. And so can you still use the body code? Well, yes, you can, because you can find imbalances maybe years or maybe decades before they actually manifest as some kind of a physical or mental or emotional issue. And that's really how we want to be taking care of ourselves ultimately. This is the ultimate form, really, of preventive medicine, to be able to find imbalances before they create symptoms and fix them, right? Correct those imbalances. If you find a nutritional deficiency now, you can address it before it causes a problem. If you have emotional baggage, get rid of it now before it contributes to some kind of a cancer or something like that. Really, the oldest idea in the history of health and healing is that health is maintained or regained by maintaining or by regaining the state of balance in the body. But we've never really had a complete list of all of the various imbalances that go on until now. And that's what the body code really is. It's just a very complete list. So now we know all the imbalances. We may still discover a few, but in 35 years, these are all the ones that we've been able to find so far. And the beauty is correcting these things can be done at home. You can buy the book, and it's not very expensive. And then you use the book, and people are finding out what's driving the success of this is these individual successes that people have. Oh my gosh, mom's not depressed anymore, or grandpa's back pain is gone, or my sister finally is pregnant because she's never been able to have a baby, and we figured out the underlying reasons, and now she's pregnant. This is the kind of thing that's happening all over the world.
Have you had a specific experience of the body code in your life that made a big change?
Well, for me, I think one of the most profound healing experiences that I have had had to do with an emotional, a trapped emotion that was inherited, that I inherited at conception from my father, that went back 22 generations. Who knows? Maybe back to Stockholm. It's a long time ago, right? But some grandmother of mine had that experience, and then having that released, I in my mind, every waking moment of my life, I'd had this background feeling of hopelessness until that was released, and suddenly it was gone, and it changed my life. So that was a powerful thing. And I mean, using the body code, there's so many amazing experiences. A lot of those experiences are in the book, and plus a lot of experiences that other people have had using the body code. Raising
a very good layer of, seeing what it can make, what it can do to you.
Right, exactly. Raising our children with the body code was an amazing thing. I remember two different occasions where one specifically, but this happened a couple of times, where our son Joseph, who was about probably 8 years old, was in absolute agony with a pain in his abdomen. And I thought it was his appendix. We were going to have to take him to the hospital. And by using the body code, we were able to figure out what the underlying causes were. And I mean, he was just wailing in agony. And the moment that we made that correction, the pain stopped, and he starts watching TV. And I remember passing my hand in front of his face a moment later, like, okay, he's just watching TV now. He's fine. Seen that a couple times. It's such a great tool to be able to use, for your kids, your family members, your loved ones. It's just been, it's so fun, and it's so easy to use. And so I'm really excited for your readers, because this is going to open a whole new window for them.
Yes, broader one than the emotion code.
Yes, exactly right. I mean, the emotion code, of course, is fantastic. And we include in this book, in an abbreviated way, the emotions and the emotion code, a little bit about how that works and so on. And we talk about the heart wall. But if you want to stay totally healthy, if you want to live as long as you can possibly live, and be disease-free, I believe this is the key. The subconscious mind has all those answers. And
would you make it like a daily practice to go through?
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, I try to check on myself.
What's your question? Just to do the daily check-in.
Well, with the body code, what I do is I'll check to see if all my glands and organs are happy and balanced. So like for myself right now, if I check, Are all of my meridians balanced today? I get a yes. Are all of my chakras balanced? Yes. Are all of my organs balanced and happy? Yes. Are all of my acupuncture meridians happy and balanced? Oh, I get a no there. Okay. So let's just see what shows up if you want.
Yeah, love to.
I've
Thank
got a
you for
meridian.
being so open.
Sure, absolutely. So let's go down in here into the energy body and we'll go into the meridians. So I've got a meridian that's out of balance. Well, is it one of these main meridians? It's an extraordinary meridian right here. And so is it on the left side of this chart? No, it's on the right side. So is it the conception vessel? It's actually I believe this is the governing meridian, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what's going on. So in the association step, I can ask, is there something associated? Or no, that's this step right here. Is there something associated with this? There is. So there's something that's imbalancing this governing meridian, and let's see what it is. I'm excited to figure this out. Is it something on the right side? No. Left side? Yes. Is it in energies? It is. Is it on the left side? So is it, and that's a no. So it's over here. So is it an allergy or an intolerance? Is it something emotional? Something emotional. So is it on the left side? Yes. So it's some kind of a trapped emotion. Is it one of these on the left side? Is it so it's a common trapped emotion, we call it. Okay. And so let's just, in other words, a common trapped emotion is something that occurred between, birth and now. And is it one of these in column A or B? Is it in one of the odd rows? Yes. Is it in row 1? No. Row 3, row 5. So is it conflict or creative insecurity? It's creative insecurity. Do I need to know more about it? No. So release that. Okay. Okay. Did we correct that one? We did. Okay. So now if we go back to that meridian that was unhappy. Okay. Is that meridian balanced and happy now? It is. Okay. So do I have any other meridians that are unhappy or imbalanced? No. Okay. So the glands are good. The organs are good. The meridians are good. The chakras are good. And that's a pretty good check for me.
Yeah.
To see if there's anything else going on. I could ask, do I have any kind of a bone that's out of alignment anywhere? No. Do I have any imbalances anywhere else going on in the body? I'm not finding anything. So, but this is essentially how you can work on yourself and find things.
Yeah. That's a really great tool, just to check in with yourself every day and find whatever you need to fix. Because if you don't fix it, it will perhaps add up to something.
Exactly. Yeah, they can add up to something. Well, if you have an imbalance and you don't fix it, eventually it's going to start poking you with some kind of symptom. It might be pain or some other kind of symptom, but eventually you're going to start to notice something. And so.
Well, Bradley, thank you so much for this fantastic tool. And the emotion code was a huge success in our book club. And we've had so many asking us for the body code. So we're really hoping that the body code is on the same path as the emotion code and that they will complement each other.
Well, I sure hope so. And I look forward to coming to Stockholm with my wife, Jean. We'll be there in kind of
27th or 28th of June.
May. June or May?
June.
Okay. Well, we're getting it figured out. So anyway, hopefully we'll see you over there. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day over there.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Okay. See ya.